Megan, thanks for joining us tonight. Glad you're able to be here. So, having a newcomer here reminded me of when I was a newcomer. And I remember coming to the Zendo in Germantown, Maryland, where my root teacher, who was Korean, I would sit with him in the mornings. And when I first started sitting with him, I was really afraid he could read my thoughts. Some of my thoughts weren't so great. So, that's an interesting thing because Zen is beyond thinking. Buddha is beyond thinking. So we are not our thoughts, but that's what we identify with. So it's our identification that is the problem, not the thoughts. So the Zen master that I was sitting with, of course, he was in samadhi. He was beyond thinking. I sat with him. It's not that there was nothing there. He was there. His body there. His mind was there. His feelings and emotion, it was all there. But there was no attachment to I, me, and mine. This is me. So that clarity I was susceptible to because essentially just this mind is Buddha, meaning our original nature is non-dual. It's non-duality. It's not this and that, right and wrong, left and right, high or lower. These are just arbitrary things that we do. So the other thing I wanted to mention about experience in letting go of thought is, where does intuition come from? So, the whole idea of sleep on it. So we have a problem, right? Where we have something we can't figure out. So why does sleeping on it all of a sudden an answer pops up in the middle of the night or the next morning, or, oh, there's where my keys are, or, how does that, is that thinking? Where does that come from? That's not thinking. That's a deeper connection to the phenomenal experience. It's being part of this one mind. So there are many, many benefits to practice. That's what we call this. We call it our practice. Clarity, being able to have focused attention, being more in touch with our intuition, being more in touch with global suchness that we're all part of, so that empathy, compassion, kindness, these sort of attributes are more natural. It's not something contrived or something we have to work at. It's just once we get out of the way, they're just there. Essentially, we're all loving beings, even though we're ignorant slobs, mean and nasty, treat each other like shit. There's that. But see, this is where there's no us and them. Because when you stop seeing everyone as a them, everything shifts for you. And that can only happen in your own experience. It can't happen by being put on you. You can't put on some robes and go out into the world and call yourself a monk and not get angry, not be hateful, not think you're better than somebody else. This work all happens here. And it all happens naturally as we let go of this idea of who we think we are. So we talk about our practice as being awakening. And it's not just Buddhism. Awakening is a universal, the way I'm speaking of it, thing. In any of the major traditions, religious or otherwise, psychology, there's awakening. Jung talked about it, an awakened being. What's an awakened being? What are they awakened to? Their own original nature, their nature. So, it's a journey that very few people take. Most people just kind of suffer through. And, but they all have it, you see. Buddha isn't something that you get, something you already have. So, so I like the saying, rising above and beyond thinking. My most profound insights came when I was not attached to my thoughts. When they came and they went, and they came and they went. And that's what we practice when we're sitting. They come, they rise, they fall, they go. And in the midst of all that, real insights come through. Real, oh, you know, and we have opportunities to have a better life, to be a better person, be more kind, more generous. So all of that is there to be awakened to, not something you have to get or, study for. Nothing wrong with studying, nothing wrong with reading scriptures or whatever, sutras, the Buddhist traditions. But who we actually are is what we do here, is what we're after. We're after facilitating our experience of self to the point where we recognize that's not who we are. Dying before death. I know that sounds scary, but you could look at it as freedom. Now, there are plenty of people that don't want to be free. This is mine. I'm going to hold on to it for dear life. So, how's that working for you? Don't give up. You know, uh, I think there's a potential in everybody to be Buddha. We all have that potential. So we talk a lot about all the nature of clinging to things, holding on to and grasping, and opening the hand of thought. Opening the hand of thought is just another way of saying beyond thinking. Beyond thinking.